Friend, I don't know what you're going through, but what if your worst pain was not the end of your story, but the beginning of somehow God is going to use in your life? Because when you think about it, the people who followed Jesus, they went through fear, loss, suffering, and somehow they came out with a hope and love so strong that they were willing to die for it. When Jesus died on the cross, everything looked like it was over on that Friday. The disciples, they were scared. They hid. They thought they had lost him, the one they trusted, the one they had been following for years now. But then Sunday came, and the tomb was empty. And Jesus, he had risen. He was alive, and death had been defeated. And history was forever changed. And so were they. The disciples, the apostles, they weren't people who were chasing comfort. They weren't gaining money. They weren't becoming popular. They were beaten, rejected, hunted, and still they didn't walk away. It makes you wonder, friend, why? Because they saw Jesus rise from the dead. They knew this is all real. Even though they had seen so many miracles in their time, they still needed one more. It was a pretty good one. And friend, I don't know what your day looks like. It might be the darkest one. Maybe you might be thinking that some of this is just a fairy tale. That is there really a God out there who came to earth, was born as a baby, lived a perfect life, was killed by his own creation as the ultimate sacrifice of the sins of the entire world, past, present, and future, came back to life, defeating death, and wants a relationship with me so I can live with him forever. But you know what's so cool? History. Back in the 1st century, there was a historian named Josephus. He wasn't one of Jesus' followers, but he wrote about real history that was taking place. And it's so cool because this is evidence of what took place back then outside of scripture, written by someone looking at what was happening in real time back then. And Josephus wrote that Jesus was a wise man, that he was crucified under Pontius Pilate, and that his followers reported that he appeared to them alive again. That means something real happened. Something strong enough to change everything, friend. But friend, before we go any further, I think it's important to share something that is heartbreaking, but also inspiring to show you the faith that these apostles, these real people who believed in Jesus, what they went through. Peter, the one who denied Jesus 3 times, he was crucified upside down in Rome because he didn't feel worthy to die like Christ. Andrew was crucified on an X-shaped cross in Greece. James, the brother of John, he was the first apostle killed, beheaded by King Herod. You can read about that in Acts 12. John, one of Jesus' closest friends, the only one who wasn't killed for his faith, was exiled to the island of Patmos. But he also suffered greatly, and even though he lived to be an old man, at one point it is said that he was boiled in oil. And then there was Philip, who was also crucified or hanged. Bartholomew, he was flayed alive and then killed. And Thomas, he was stabbed with a spear in India. Matthew, he was killed with a sword while preaching. And James the Less, he was thrown from the temple and then beaten to death. And then there's Jude, who was killed with clubs or arrows. And Simon the Zealot, it was said that he was killed by being sawed in half. Matthias, he was stoned and then beheaded. And then Paul, he was beheaded in Rome. Friend, these people were real. History dates it. And they believed in Jesus so much, even though they were flawed people, that they were willing to be gruesomely killed for their faith. And it makes you wonder, why would they go through all of that if it wasn't real? Why would they die for a lie and suffer immensely? People don't die for something that they know is not true. And yet they endured suffering because they had hope beyond this life. Romans 8:18 says, the sufferings of this present time are not worth comparing with the glory that will be revealed. And scripture gives us even more clarity about that hope in 1 Thessalonians 4:15 through 18. We're reminded that Jesus is coming back, that those who belong to him will rise, that this is not the end. Scripture tells us to encourage one another with these words. It's meant to steady our hearts, to fight the good fight, that you're not just living for nothing, God tells us in the book of Ecclesiastes that he wrote eternity into our hearts. So that tugging, that God-shaped void, it is real. So friend, if you are tired, if your thoughts are so loud, if you feel like you're just trying to get through the day and survive, you're not alone. Even the strongest believers struggled. Remember Elisha, he wanted to give up. Remember David, he cried all throughout the Psalms. And Paul, he talked about his weakness, his struggle, that thorn that he couldn't remove from his flesh. The things that he knows he should do, he doesn't. The things he knows he's not supposed to do, he does. It's a spiritual battle, friend, and you're not alone in this fight. But remember this, friend, 2 Corinthians 12:9. It says, my grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness. God's not waiting for you to be strong, to pull up your bootstraps and get it all together to come to him. There's been many nights where I'm laying on the floor crying, or in the middle of a panic attack, physically hurting, and I cry out to him. Maybe in days that you're so confused, you don't know where you're going, or you're hurting so bad because your loved one is in heaven, and now you're having to spend the rest of your life without them. God sees that and he's with you, friend. I fully believe it. In history, it speaks for itself. We're reminded in 1 Thessalonians in chapter 4 to love one another, to live quietly, to take care of our own responsibilities, to keep going, even in simple, steady ways. So that means that even small steps matter. Getting up, showing up, loving people, that counts, friend. The cross looked like a loss to many, but it was victory. The tomb might have looked like it was the end for many, but it was just the beginning. God can take your worst moment, your worst days, and bring good from them. He will be with you as you cry, as you wonder, maybe even doubt. He is with you, friend. Your pain is not wasted, and we see that through the history of the world, that God brings good through anything. And right now you might be like, what's the point of all this? But Romans 8:28 reminds us that in all things God works for the good of those who love him. All of it. Not just the good days, not just the easy seasons, all of it. Maybe you're the one who is struggling at your darkest point. God is working, friend. All you need is the faith the size of a mustard seed, which is literally like so tiny. Hebrews 13:8 says that Jesus Christ is the same yesterday and today and forever. He hasn't changed, which means he still sees you. He still cares. He's still walking with you. And scripture gives us something very practical that we can follow. In 1 Thessalonians 5:12-24, we're basically told to encourage one another, to help the weak, to be patient with everyone. Rejoice always, pray continually, give thanks in all circumstances. And hear this part clearly, friend. So if you're in a hard place right now, please remember that your story is not over, that you are not the sum of your thoughts. You are more than, you are greater than your thoughts. The apostles, they didn't have easy lives, and maybe your life isn't easy either. But God walked with them. He's walking with you every single step of the way. And friend, please remember, no matter what, this world is always better with you in it. So keep going.